Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Oh man, I am absolutely thrilled to unpack this one with you because today we're looking at a literal masterclass in psychological horror. We're going to completely break down the wild, supernatural mystery of shergarh. We'll dissect exactly how trauma, guilt, and vengeance can, well, literally rewrite reality. We're going to track timelines and map out a story that absolutely refuses to move in a straight line. So if you're fascinated by how a classic haunted house setup can evolve into an inescapable psychological trap, you are in the exact right place. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. The whole nightmare starts off as just a totally standard happy road trip. You've got Akash taking his partner Sonia on this cute surprise anniversary getaway. But almost immediately, things get weird. The environment just turns totally hostile. The very first crack in their reality is actually technological. Their GPS just starts glitching out, right? It demands they turn down this entirely desolate road. And then, out of nowhere, the car stereo cranks up by itself, blasting this super distorted, genuinely creepy version of the nursery rhyme, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now, this isn't just some cheap jump scare. It's actually a brilliant storytelling device, telling us right off the bat that childhood innocence has been completely corrupted here. Of course, this massive distraction causes a brutal car crash, throwing Akash and Sonia out into the pitch-black woods, completely at the mercy of whatever is waiting out there in the shadows. Following that terrifying crash, Sonia wakes up totally disoriented, and the couple manages to find some refuge at a local resort. But, spoiler alert, safety is a complete illusion here. Wandering around outside, they run into a totally fascinating character who is just central to this whole mythology, the blind medium. So, he's a local guy who lacks physical sight, but he's got this incredibly powerful spiritual connection. He literally cannot see the living, but his mind is just constantly bombarded by the desperate cries of souls trapped in limbo. When Sonia walks up to him, he recognizes her instantly, and not by her face, obviously, but by the dark spiritual tether attached to her. He hits her with this horrifying truth that completely shatters her reality. He tells her a spirit has been waiting for her in absolute agony for a very, very long time. You can imagine this revelation sends Sonia into a massive panic because it suddenly clicks exactly where this little road trip has taken them. They are in shergarh, and it has been exactly 10 years since Sonia last set foot in this town. But here is the kicker. 10 years is the precise amount of time her older brother, Vicky, has been missing. He just vanished during a childhood family vacation to this exact same spot. For a whole decade, Sonia has lived with this agonizing uncertainty about what happened to him, going through intense therapy just to function in daily life. And now, boom, she has been dragged right back to ground zero of her absolute deepest trauma. So, the fundamental question we have to ask ourselves here, and honestly the central mystery driving this entire nightmare, is simply this. What really happened in shergarh 10 years ago? See, Sonia's mind has entirely repressed the memory of that terrible night. Her therapist basically convinced her that whatever went down wasn't her fault, which effectively locked the truth behind a massive wall of psychological self-preservation. But if she's going to save her brother's trapped soul, she has to systematically tear down every single one of those mental walls. I really want you to follow along closely with this next part, because as we unpack Sonia's repressed memories, we uncover a dark, deeply tragic secret that ties the past to the present in just a totally devastating way. And this brilliantly illustrates the tragic chronology we are dealing with. Let's rewind 10 years ago. A local girl named Maya took young Sonia and Vicky on this secret little adventure to a notoriously haunted house out in the woods. When the spirits inevitably attacked, little Vicky sacrificed himself so the two girls could escape. That is our inciting incident. Then flash forward to just 3 months ago. Maya, who has been completely consumed by the agonizing guilt of hiding the truth about Vicky's sacrifice for a whole decade, tragically dies in a fatal car crash. And that brings us right up to the present day, with Sonia returning. What's super fascinating here is that Maya's spirit actually appears to Sonia in the present, not to scare her or harm her, but to apologize and finally guide her to the truth. Her guilt literally transcended death itself. It's wild. Let's see how this builds our understanding of the specific spirits involved here. To really grasp the mechanics of this haunting, we have to look at the two vastly opposing supernatural forces driving the whole story. On one side, we have Vicky. He is the sacrificial protector. Even as a little kid, his first instinct was selfless bravery, literally throwing himself at a monster so his little sister could run away. His spirit might be trapped, but his essence remains totally pure. Then, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Anamika, the vengeful captor. Anamika represents the dark, incredibly selfish malice of this story. She doesn't just kill people, she hoards their souls. She is essentially a supernatural parasite feeding on the essence of these children. But to truly understand a monster, we have to look at exactly what created it in the first place. Because before she was this terrifying entity, Anamika was actually a deeply tragic figure. She was a strict local tutor who suffered from some really severe mental health issues. And because of that instability, she actually lost custody of her real son, Ajay. Following that devastating blow, the parents of all the children she tutored pulled their kids away from her too, left completely abandoned, totally isolated, and just drowning in this profound, suffocating grief. She sadly committed suicide. It was this sheer, agonizing loneliness that somehow mutated upon her death. It completely transformed her from a grieving, broken mother into an entity of pure, unfiltered, supernatural rage. Which brings us to the horrifying result of that mutation, the eternal captivity curse. Anamika's trauma directly dictated her afterlife. Because she died so terrified of being alone and separated from her son, her curse is specifically designed to ensure she never, ever has to be a lonely mother again. The mechanics of it are just brutal. Basically, the souls of anyone who enters her home are immediately trapped in limbo right alongside her. She forces the spirits of these trapped children to form this twisted, eternal fake family unit. Poor Vicky has been locked inside this agonizing, ghostly domestic nightmare for 10 solid years. So the crucial point is, how on earth do you break a curse that powerful? Well, the blind medium actually provides Sonia with an exact, highly dangerous 3-step ritual. Step 1, they have to physically enter the cursed house, which means walking directly into Anamika's trap. Step 2, they have to locate the actual physical skeletons of the children who have died there over the years. And step 3, they must burn those remains. Fire is the ultimate purifier here. Destroying the earthly tether is literally the only way to shatter Anamika's hold and force the souls to be freed into the afterlife. It is a wildly high-stakes, terrifying rescue mission. But here's the catch. Entering that house means facing Anamika's wrath directly. To survive even long enough to burn the remains, Sonia and Akash are going to need a massive distraction. Through their investigation, they actually managed to track down Anamika's real living son, Ajay, who is now a fully grown man. They bring Ajay to the cursed house, and in this incredibly tense climax, Ajay confronts the horrifying ghost of his own mother. He begs her let the souls go and presents her with a childhood photo of the two of them. It's a brilliant psychological tactic. It momentarily pierces right through Anamika's monstrous exterior, reminding her of the real human love she lost. And it stuns her just long enough for the ritual to begin. And you know what? It works. While Anamika is distracted by that photo of her son, Akash and Sonia successfully ignite the skeletal remains. As the fire blazes up, the curse is finally broken, leading to this incredibly intense emotional peak. Vicky's spirit materializes one last time, looks right at his sister and says, "I am going, my sister." He is no longer a trapped, tormented child. He is a freed soul finally finding peace. He bids his sister farewell, bringing this huge, profound sense of closure to a 10-year-long nightmare. The trauma has been faced head-on, the monster is defeated, and the innocent are saved. It feels like this complete, totally triumphant resolution. But did Sonia actually escape Shergarh? I really want you to just sit with that question for a second. Because in storytelling, especially in the horror genre, we are totally conditioned to believe that surviving the climax means you get to walk away into the sunset. Sonia faced her repressed memories, she executed the ritual perfectly, and she freed her brother. By all traditional narrative rules, she has absolutely earned her freedom. But the absolute genius of the specific story is that it refuses to play by those rules. The narrative momentum we've been building this whole time just hits a brick wall right here, making way for a truly devastating final revelation. Because here is the terrifying truth of their situation. Think all the way back to the start of the story. Akash is driving, the GPS glitches out, that creepy nursery rhyme starts playing, right? Well, look at the events immediately following the climax. Sonia gets back into the passenger seat with Akash to finally drive away from Shergarh. And the GPS glitches in the exact same way. The dialogue is completely identical. The timeline hasn't just continued, it has completely reset itself. Despite every single thing she did, Sonia hasn't moved forward a single inch. She has been thrust right back into the car just moments before the initial crash. And this brings us to a chilling realization. As Akash just smiles at Sonia and repeats his opening line, "This is my surprise wedding gift for you." The ultimate trap wasn't just a haunted house at all. It was the entire timeline. It's a mind-bending reveal that leaves us with a lingering, provocative question to walk away with today. If trauma is a loop,
And vengeance can actually transcend time. Can anyone ever truly escape Adamika's grasp? Or is Sonia just doomed to solve this mystery and lose her brother over and over and over again? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Really think on that final question, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.